Last time on Dungeon Dads, well, I suppose we won a fight, but I got turned to stone. I lost my spear. I lost my damn hand. Doesn't really feel like we won very much, but well, that tends to be the way most of our victories go. Fellas, you ready to do this thing again?
Let's do it. I'm ready if you are.
It's time for Dungeon Dads, baby.
All right.
Heroes rise, heroes fall. I see them on the front line, standing tall. They're risking life and limb to answer the call. But what they fighting for? Don't know, don't care. Just along for the ride, but everyone must stand. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna win inside.
Oh, hey everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. First of all, I want to say I'm loving this new artwork, and thank you to everybody who keeps on giving us those fives and scribes and for engaging with us on the various social platforms. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
We also haven't called it out recently, but I just want to say, man, theme song still slaps. Is that what the kids say these days? It slaps.
It
Slaps that bass.
It dabs.
That was one of our great little reviews. Somebody said it slaps. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. If you're a Patreon subscriber, you know, based on the last bonus episode, that some of what happened last time is a little bit controversial. And we're going to get right back to it in a moment. But first, let's meet the cast. Hello, everybody. I am Tom Blaylock. I'm your DM, and I'm joined by the finest D&D fathers who are also currently on this podcast.
Of the ones on this podcast.
Yeah. Looking around the room, I can tell that you are the most beautiful girl in the room. First, he's some of your favorites. He's playing the murderous warlock with a heart of gold. The I guess you had to be there half elf. We have Timmy, the V8 muscle Carr.
Well, hello. That's quite the introduction.
Wow.
Season 2, baby.
New season, new commitment to quality introduction.
I guess. I mean,
vroom, baby. I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to work on that. Maybe, I don't know. As I said it, I felt embarrassed. So, and some other people's favorite, playing Abel Snowflower, the #1 Tempest iconoclast, the wrinkled sack of steel, the curmudgeon who's so happy to talk to you and share a cup of nut tea from a craggy old bark bowl, Sammy, the earnest movie quote machine, Frank.
Hey, everybody.
And finally, for those of you who haven't heard your favorite character named, playing Iona Silhavine, the rightful heir of Monterre, willing to get dirty for a minute, but only for a minute. He's going to make a pocket. Speaking of pockets, is that a magic chest in there, or do you need to see a urologist? I'm sorry. When I wrote it was better.
Wow. Jesus.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. Johnny Smooth and Lowdown Watson.
Oh, yeah, baby. That was a nice intro right there. I love that.
Yeah, man.
Thank you very much.
All right, before we get started, here's what you need to know. After helping Faust enter the blade, launching an epic extraplanar showdown in a place where time passes differently than here in the Brine, the dads completed a ritual that grew a tree, inadvertently setting free thousands of spirits that had been collected and trapped inside Paraso Incompetent. They collected gifts from the tree that grew on the palisades of Lakespire Pass, and they reluctantly left that tree thinking that they might be damming the whole valley, only to see that a spectral tower rose from that tree. It was only one of 8 that was stretching into the sky, and one of those towers grew up from the halfling city of Lakeshire, which was on fire and had been sealed off. Beaten, downtrodden, tired, and feeling kind of guilty that maybe they had wrought all this, they arrived on the outskirts of Lakenhearth to find Despo, Florn, Rollo, and the remaining human soldiers embroiled in a battle with Gith and Basilisk that were teleporting into the war wagon's teleporting circle. They should have been easy to dispatch. These were CR rating like 1 each people here, guys. I don't actually know what happened, but instead, Abel was turned real hard, and he said he was both light as a feather and stiff as a board, and he lost his shield hand. He lost Tempest's prick. So that was pretty bad. This forced them to travel to an NPC at least 3 episodes sooner than I was ready for them to meet this particular NPC. She's known as the Pyromancer. Her name is Helspeth Valgstaff, and she is one of the last Moonbrook Circle of Mages. I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit this week. 115 years ago, she had been married to the head of the Lakenhearth Ag Co-op, the leader of that, and she has a soft spot for Rollo. And so this old elven witch traded her help, turning Abel back to flesh, for Jonas's Griggly spellbook, Rollo's horse, which she promptly butchered, and Filnyr's emeralds that silence whatever they touch. She ripped the book apart, affixed it to the wall of her shack with a dirty knife, and the dads, now almost whole, convinced her to return with them to the human settlement to prepare for whatever comes next. I want to remind you all, just because this sometimes gets lost in translation, that she told you that based on the spectral towers, that the octopus god Ehi has returned. I think you all got a sense that she knows more about the Brine than anyone you've met so far. Any questions before we get into it?
So many.
Who do we have to kill and how soon?
Not that kind of show, Timmy.
When-
Timmy V8 muscle car.
When do we get a long rest?
Yeah, has time passed?
She was setting fire to the city, I think, when we left, right?
Yeah, I mean, she touched Jonas's hand, and I think she kind of made his skin go on fire a little bit. Let's get to the long rest. Is that okay? Let's get into the Lakenhearth gates and get you to a long rest. Is that all right?
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, do we need to talk this lady down, or are we going to observe?
Well, you tell me. Do you want to? What do you think? What do you think's going to happen?
I'm ready to observe.
Okay. The situation quickly de-escalates. Florn Gershon shakes her hand and says, "Lady, you're always welcome here in Lakenhearth. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for coming with the gentleman here." She nods her head and says, "Florn, you've been collecting many of my books. I really wish you would let me have them." Oh, lady, you know, I'm also learning from them, and you know, there's enough books for 2 master wizards in the Brine Valley. Oh, you are no master wizard, but I do like your gumption, she says.
Well, and madam, you said that you and Florn were square.
We are square. I still have some lessons that I'd like to teach him. As I understand, you have been teaching him. I've heard stories of the duel, of the duel in the square.
Oh, that was just we were just messing about.
Oh, not the way I heard the song. How did it go? In the square, Jonas struck Florn Gershon down. He killed him dead, and then he waved and brought the boy back to life. Isn't that what your minstrel sings?
What?
Well, that's clearly not true.
That's not.
Ionis knows not how to bring someone back from the dead.
Well, that's not what they say in the bars and the taverns.
Well, obvious. I mean, as you should well know, there's what they sing, and there's also the truth. And I would never hurt this boy.
Well, that's very nice. Florn, I want the monarch suite in the tavern, please. Oh, yes, of course. And so he shows her there, and you see a woman come out from the hunters co-op, and she approaches you and says, Since you've all left, we have been preparing some space for you. Would you like me to take you to your quarters, gentlemen?
I would like nothing more.
Before I do that, I need to take a trip into the woods with my young friend here,
Who are you talking about, Jonas?
Florn.
He's showing the lady to the monarch suite, but he will be with you forthwith.
All right.
Maybe he can come knock on your door in the middle of the night.
So there is a very large windmill that no longer powers the wheat crushing mill below in town, and the hunter takes you to the windmill, and she opens up the door and she gives you each this. It's a small triangular stone, and she says, "Just place it right here. It's a special lock that Florn cast for you in particular. No one else may enter this space other than you." And she tries to open it herself. She shows you. She pushes the triangle into this like small drawn triangle on the windmill, and she says, "The password that you must say when you and you alone are holding it is Florn is my leader." And she gives it to you, Abel, and she says, "You try. It won't work for me. It only works for you."
Florn is my leader.
What looked like a very small door is actually a double door that sort of swings out toward you when you do this. Even though the door, it's like everything around the door is also swinging out. So it's like you didn't see that there were hinges at one of these corners of the windmill. It's like basically made into an octagon, the windmill, the base of the windmill. And so it's two sides of the octagon completely sort of open up for you to go inside.
It's when you like somebody, even the annoying things they do are kind of cute.
I assume you're going to go in, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So when you first walk in, there is a fully stocked kitchen that is just right there, complete with a wood burning oven. And she says, Florn took care of this. That fire is always going. No need to feed it. It also keeps you warm. Filnyr, apparently it is always cooking right at 425 degrees.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, and you'll see that we have taken great strides to make sure all of your cooking supplies are here. And she picks up. She has no idea what this thing is. It's steel, and it is like a long steel, kind of like a skewer, and then on the end of it, it has this thing that kind of looks like a small cookie cutter. And she says, "I have no idea what this is for, but Florn said you must have it. We have bets going down on at the tavern. What is it used for?"
Oh, put me on the spot.
That was the intent.
No, that was out of character. It is in fact for shaping the puff pastries to make sure that they all are equivalent size.
One of us thought it was for pushing the cream inside. What do you use to push the cream inside? Is it this thing? And she holds up something that's sort of, it's flat. It looks like an iron, but it does have several holes in it that look like, things could be poured in it, but she has no idea what this thing is. What is this used for if it's not for pushing cream into the pastry?
How many people have you asked that question to? What do you use to push the cream inside?
It's for browning.
Is that something you're just going around asking people willy-nilly?
We're very excited.
I say that because I use my willy-nilly.
Well, so that's very good, Abel, sir. The question that I have, because we are all so excited, we heard someone who trained as a chef is moving into town. So I know you are prized as a warrior, but you will be prized here even greater for your cooking prowess. You can look around the town. You see that there are many warriors already here, but there are no chefs.
Well, perhaps I can educate several people so more of you can delight your senses.
Well, you are a delight. Just beyond the kitchen, there is a hammock that is stretched out. It's tied off to two sides of the inside of the windmill. There is on the wall surrounding it on the inside, it's just bark. It's almost like someone has stripped off the bark from like a maple, just covered that side. So if one were to lay in the hammock, you could have your hand against the wall, the bark wall, and sort of push yourself and swing a bit. And you see that there are 3 tidally pressed loincloths that are hanging from a hook on the wall.
Abel, they seem to know you better than we do, perhaps?
It is my preferred mode of relaxation. I don't remember informing anybody of this, but who knows? Maybe word gets around.
And then she goes to the floor and she lifts up this latch, and it opens up to a root cellar. And when the root cellar door opens, blue mystical lights sort of come on and light the way down into the basement. And she says, it's the entire library of Florn Gershon. You have to go down underground, and this actually links up to his home. And he has linked it so that you can go there anytime you would like, Sir Jonas.
Oh, that is quite amazing.
Yes. And the other good thing is, if anyone ever sets the windmill on fire, you can exit underground and leave out of Florn's home.
That is also amazing. Wow, he's really thought this out. Is the windmill in danger currently?
Nope. Not right now. It is the 3rd highest point in town, though, and so we thought maybe. Well, here, let me show you. And there's a small stair that sort of snakes up. When I say small, I mean it goes on the on the wall of the windmill up, and it's only about 1.5 feet, like 18 inches wide each step as it sort of comes up to the top. And if you follow her up, you'll see a sleeping room that is cut into 4. So there's 4 beds up top, and there's a ladder that goes to the top. And she points up and says, "It's not a wizard tower, but Florn says when you cast from up there, it will help you sort of concentrate your magical energy." And he says he can double or even triple the distance on his best spells from the tower there.
Abel, we're home.
Fellas, I've had a hell of a day.
Yeah, are you still bleeding? Like, what's left over after you lose your hand as stone?
Well, I would assume that it just comes back as flesh.
But like healed over.
I think I just
like
have a
stump.
nub. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a question for the pyromancer. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's what happens. That sounds right. Sounds right.
I want to get a little bit drunk and then fall asleep.
That sounds delightful.
Not real drunk, just a little bit drunk and then fall asleep.
I will fetch you some ale. That's all we have.
That'll do. I pray God that will do.
So she leaves, and she comes back quickly with ale. She says, "You won't be disturbed if you would like to talk to Florn Ionis, sir. He will be in his library momentarily." Filnyr, Hespeth said that she would very much like to take dinner with the 3 of you.
Very well. I will see what I can prepare.
Oh, that's lovely. I was going to offer to get some fish and stale bread from the tavern, but it would be very, very lovely. There's some meat in the meat locker there, and
do you have any beet juice?
There's plenty of beet juice. Yes, yes.
I do imagine Abel will sleep for a while. So, what time is it right now?
It's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
So probably,
fellas, I'm calling it a day.
So I think dinner with all 3 of us might have to happen tomorrow.
I mean, I could take a nap, I suppose. I mean, she did, in a way, bring me back from the dead. It would be sort of rude to say, no, I don't want to have dinner with you. I just want to get drunk and go to bed.
Well, how about this? Abel, have your ale. We will have one with you. You can pass out for a number of hours. We'll wake you to eat, and then you can sleep some more.
Excellent.
Very well.
All right.
Um,
So Phil, you're gonna start cooking. I take it.
yeah, sure.
Okay.
And we'll make a toast or two.
I'm going to start
pour the
drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what else really chaps me? I didn't even really want that spear in the first place. Now that it's gone, not only do I feel a sense of loss, but also like I'm responsible for anything bad that character does with it now. And I didn't even want to pick that thing up to begin with.
I tell you.
And another thing.
I'm sitting there listening intently.
Yeah. You know what you ought to be doing, Jonas? You ought to be adjusting his shield to figure out how he can mount it onto his nub and still use it.
Yeah, I'm assuming I can't do any like two-handed attacks anymore.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Ionis, can you attach the mage hand that you can cast to Abel's arm somehow?
Maybe with a little bit of practice, maybe we can get something like that going.
Perhaps there's a magical
Maybe it's a code word.
manipulation you can do. I don't know.
Well, and you know what else? That was my preferred hand.
The shield hand was your preferred hand.
TMI, I believe, is the expression.
Preferred. Not for all things, you mind you.
I should hope not.
That's devastating.
But I'm just gonna say there's quite a few things I'm gonna have to relearn,
I imagine.
and a lot of things I would want Jonas's mage hand to stay far away from.
Oh man. Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Very well. I'm off to see what proteins we have here.
Sorry, I almost went for it, and then I hesitated, and then the moment passed.
You got some venison and some pork in there.
I'm gonna go see what proteins I have over here.
and you see Abel in the hammock rediscovering himself.
his first re-lesson.
Yeah.
Does it feel like it's somebody else?
It feels like I'm prodding at myself with a nub.
We have gone off the rails, everybody.
Are we cutting out? Are we cutting all of this out?
It's a family show. It's called the Dungeon Dads. You know what I mean? So go ahead, John.
I was gonna say while Filnyr is looking for things to cook and prepare, and Abel's off doing whatever, I'll climb down the ladder into the basement.
As you're going down there, you just hear in the distance, and another thing.
As you walk down, every 10 feet or so, there's another one of these magic lights. As you get in its range, it pops on, and the one behind you pops off. So it's sort of this wave of light as you walk, and it's like 150 feet from the windmill until you get to the stairs heading back up. You see that there's a hatch that's open, and you just see warm firelight in this space. And I'm assuming you're going to go up into it.
Yeah, I'm going to go up into it.
There are rugs that clearly had been wall tapestries in a castle or some other sort of noble space that he has just laid on the floor. And when you emerge from the tunnel, you hear him say, "Oh, shoes, please. Ionis, shoes off."
Take them off. All right.
Yes.
I'll take them off.
He has a large couch, I guess is the best way to call it. It's a board that has been mounted between two tree stumps, but it's just covered in furs. You know, he's laying down there, he's like in repose, reading a book, and he holds it up and says, Did you know that they invented ice magic in Neverwinter?
In Neverwinter, you say?
That's apparently. I mean, it's I've never been to Farron, but it's supposed to be really, really cold further north. Why would they? I don't understand why they would not have. Why wouldn't it be someone else? Like why Neverwinter?
I do not know. That seems kind of strange. I've always thought the name of that city was also quite strange. Is it Neverwinter there? Like, what is that? And,
It seems like it wouldn't be cold at all.
right. And maybe that's why they invented the ice magic. Maybe it's not cold there, so they had to invent ways to be cold.
Oh, that's not what it says in this book at all.
Well, how about you let me borrow that book? I'd love to read it sometime.
He flips it to you and he says, I tried to find a spell in here. The problem with all these books is that, wizards, they write them and then it's like, what, they don't tell you the real stuff. They don't tell you how to actually cast their spells.
Well, from what I've discovered, it's really up to each individual wizard on how you cast a spell. There's a general idea, but each wizard has their way of doing it, if you know what I mean. Even you yourself, you have different names and you have different ways of going about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm self-taught. So everything I have comes to me either naturally, I'm sure you understand that, or I read these stupid books and I think, he said he wiggled his fingers in a wave, and then he said these words, and then he did it, but I bet he did this other thing. And he's like, really, Ionis, I see it in my mind, and then I make it happen. Is that how it works for you?
It does, but after careful study for me, you truly are quite a prodigy.
Oh, thank you.
I will have to admit that you're a little rough around the edges, and you could use a little refinement. But I'm impressed that you've been able to get this far on your own.
He points back to his library. He says, there are lots of books here that are of magic, about magic, and he holds up a Griggly book and he says, this is the one that's the most interesting to me because the text changes every time I read it.
And how far are you able to get in that book?
I just keep reading and it just keeps saying new things.
Can I see it?
Sure. He passes it to you.
I open it.
You see words. What is the first book of magic that you ever read, Jonas?
The Sentient Weapons and Expeditious Retreat.
The first line is, it kind of speaks to you in your mind as you read it, and it says,
everything you've ever learned about sentient weapons and expeditious retreat is wrong. If you want to have your mind blown, you've come to the right book.
and I'm telling you, you are just compelled to read this thing, and you just keep reading. I need you to give me a wisdom saving throw.
It's fine. No big deal.
No, it's not. It's not going to hurt you. It's fine. Hey.
You just might be late to dinner.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, 13.
You get to the end of a chapter that is entirely about channeling magical energy into your muscles. So like to make you physically stronger. And you kind of get the sense that like you could stop if you wanted to right now, but you probably don't want to, but you could if you wanted to right this moment.
I will force myself to stop.
Okay. Florn says, see what I mean? It's been an hour and a half, man. That book is insane. Close it, open it back up. Just read the first line now.
I close it and I open it back up.
All right. What was the second book of magic you ever read?
Curiosities of the Dryad and the Satyr.
Okay.
So you want to know about the Fae? So you want to know about how magic works in the Feywild? I'm about to blow your mind. If you want to have your mind blown, you've come to the right place.
And you start to read, and the first thing it is it's explaining to you how you have to have your mind in order to cast phantasmal force. And another hour disappears, and Florn sort of shakes you loose and says, "That's enough for you. That's enough for you. It's too much. It's too much, man."
Damn it.
And he puts it on the shelf, and he wraps a chain around it, and he says,
Without me here, no one enter. The book is sealed.
And he touches it, and you see that like it becomes a brick.
Oh wow!
And he puts it back on the shelf. And he says, "Little trick I learned from a gnome.
Is this a
Hey, something smells really good. Are you guys gonna
is
eat?"
this a deep gnome?
Yes, a Svirfnerblin.
Svirfneblin.
That's Svirfnerblin, I believe. But it's fine. It's fine. You say things differently.
Sure. You were asking about dinner. We are cooking. Filnyr is cooking. We are supposed to have dinner soon. I was seeking you out because I need your help.
Anything.
I put my sack down and I pull out some incense and I burn it, and I start to kind of set up a little ritual area. And as I'm doing that, I say, I made a pact with a very powerful celestial. This celestial comes to me in the form of a mongoose named Saber. The pact was that I could use his abilities, but if he were ever to be killed, I needed to bring the head of the one that killed him to the ritual in order to bring him back.
What?
I've been, ever since I've met you, I've been trying to form a strong bond relationship with you in order to see if I could find a way around this. I have been able to bring him back if I bring the person who killed him back with me, and they were extremely apologetic. Extremely apologetic.
What do you want me to do? I'll do it. Whatever you want me to do, I'll
I
do
just
it.
need to do the ritual, and when I get to your part, I need you to say, Saber, I am so very sorry. The next time you see me, you may bite me.
Okay, sure. I was gonna tell you, Hairbeak was thinking about biting you. And that's all. I mean, there's no deal or anything like that. I just want to let you know, Hairbeak is probably gonna peck at you.
I mean, the bird touches me and I'm going to kill the bird. There doesn't seem to be a problem. There's a problem with me. You have no problem. You're just being an ass.
Fair enough. Whatever you need to do. Let's summon this bird. I mean, mongoose.
Bird. This is my mongoose familiar. All right, here we go. And so I start to I start the summoning process, and it takes another hour.
And he starts to cough and like try to get the smell of the herbs like out of his nose. And I don't see why you have to do it this way. I can teach you how to cast this thing faster.
Quiet, lad. All right, we're at the part now. You have to really sell it. You have to really sell it.
Okay. Is he there?
No, you have to speak. It's Florn. Speak now. He won't come back
Saber?
until you do it.
Saber, I'm so sorry. You've got a human that would put you in a position that would get you killed like that. I'm sorry. I'm the one who did it to you. I'd probably do it again if I had to.
Florn, wrap it up.
But I'm very, very sorry, and I really do want you to be back with your friend Ionis.
And?
What else am I supposed to say? I'm so sorry.
And when you come back, you may poop on my shoes.
And when you come back, you may poop in my shoes.
Thank you very much. And
bite me. Yeah.
and hopefully with that, Saber comes back.
Saber definitely comes back.
Yay!
Oh, Saber! Oh, there you are, my little baby. Oh, there you go. Ow! Stop! Not me. It's him. Bite him.
He holds his finger out to him, and it's amazing. Saber goes up like he's gonna bite Florn, and instead of biting him, he starts to lick his finger, and he curls up onto Florn's lap. And it's the weirdest thing. Jonas, you have never seen Saber be nice to anybody else. And you do see that, like, he's on his lap, and you do see him release a little bit of urine. But as you know, when a mongoose urinates while on a person, it's a sign of not dominance. What's the operative dominance?
He's marking his territory.
Submission.
Submission. It's a sign of submission. So your great celestial mongoose just offers his submission to Florn, and then he flips over onto his back and has his legs and his little arms up, opens his mouth, and Florn just starts to tickle him on his little chin, and he says, this is this part of the ritual too?
I don't even answer. My mouth is open. Just say,
Florn picks him up, and like he's all loose in his hand, and he just hands him to you, and he says, I just don't really like the fur. It just kind of smells bad. That's all.
I just stare at him frowning, and I say, "Are you coming to dinner or not?" And I turn around and walk out.
Yeah, I can't be there. Hespeth said it's just her.
Fine.
Sorry.
And I close if there's a door behind me, I close it.
Fine.
Fine. and then you hear, as you close the door, you hear some experimentation, and you hear Florn go, "Mage armor." Damn it. Mage armor. Damn it. Damn, how does he do it?
Awesome. Thank you for giving me that. I need something.
Yeah, sure. All right, so you guys gonna go have dinner?
Yep.
And another thing.
Abel, I think you're talking in your sleep. It is it's time for dinner. Take a moment. Maybe throw some water on your face. Have another sip of ale if you like. Hespeth should be here shortly.
Yeah, the door doesn't knock, nothing happens, and Hespeth just like pops into the windmill. And she says, "He put very strong protections on this. Very clever lad. Very, very clever lad. Evening, gentlemen."
Good evening, Hespeth.
I feel worse than when I went to sleep. I think I'm a bad napper.
I mean, it's been, three and a half, 4 hours, right?
Yeah.
Now I just feel all weird and groggy.
That's the worst.
Probably have trouble getting to sleep tonight. Oh, this was a mistake.
Have some more
So
ale.
Hespeth-
It'll set you right.
Hespeth just sort of moves her hand about 4 feet off the ground, and you guys see sort of a foggy image of a table, and then she flicks her finger, and you can see it like becomes real. And so the table is like sturdy there, and she reaches over and pulls some chairs from around the room, and she says, it's a little trick. It only lasts about an hour. Gentlemen, we have some things to talk about.
Indeed.
Very well. Shall I serve dinner before, or do you want to talk first?
Let's chat and chew.
Very well. So Filnyr will bring over a giant, almost a cauldron of stew. It's like a venison stew that he made with some of the ale that they have and some of the local vegetables and roots. And then there's fresh bread and also some rashers of bacon on the side.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
So bring that over
I'm hungry.
and basically suggest you may either add the rashers to your stew or eat them separately as you prefer, but they do work quite well together. Enjoy, everyone, and then sit down.
Yeah, Hespeth just takes her hand, and she like takes like 75% of the rashes and puts them in her bowl, and then passes it over to the next person. To you, Jonas.
Well, thank you very much.
Now we got a stew going, baby.
Yeah, it's hot, but she licks it. She takes her spoon and licks it, and says, "It won't hurt your feelings if I warm it up a bit, just a tad more, will it?"
Not at all.
She sort of like moves her hand over it, and you see it starts to boil, and she takes her spoon in it, and it still continues to boil on her spoon, and she drinks this boiling stew straight off the spoon. She's, that is very good. That is very good. The Moonbrook elves would be very happy with you.
Well, thank you. I aim to please.
Madam, if I might ask, what are you?
That's a very odd question. But in what way?
Well, you seem to have powers, arcane powers, but then you also, your skin is quite hot, and then you have cleric
cleric knowledge. I'm just I'm wondering what you've studied.
And not to mention how hot she is, am I right?
Thank you, human. Thank you.
That's a little pyromancy joke there.
Yes.
I'm so glad to be around people who appreciate my wordplay.
It's very sweet. It's very, very sweet. I knew one such as you several hundred years ago from Waterdeep, actually. I mean, he turned out to be a real bastard, but he was very, very fun while it lasted.
Lady, I trust you've been around for a while. You've been around the block. You seem like you've seen a thing or two. I can tell you ain't never met nobody like me.
It's funny. I think we actually did meet once. So, yeah. I know your human brains don't hold the memories like the elves do. I actually have seen you in combat once before, Snowflower. I mean, it was impressive, if I have to be truthful about it.
Yeah, I mean, what, you seen me fighting some people? That's not exactly an exclusive club.
No, that's true. That's true. What am I? I'm the last of my kind. Obviously not elven kind. There were 13 of us on the Moonbrook Plain in the mage circle of elves. I was a coward, and I fled during the war, the Great War, and everyone else has perished. We had an old style of magic. This is not inconsistent. The things that I know how to do, all of us knew how to do. Bringing back the dead, regenerating flesh. These are all things that we could do.
Regenerating flesh, you say?
Yes. I mean, I know that this is something that's going to be very interesting to you. It's been a very long time. I'm not sure I'll be able to do this for you right now, but it's something that I could definitely work on.
I would love to just have, like, I could even do with probably one finger and a thumb.
I don't think that's going to happen today.
Just a little grip. I just need a little grip.
I bet you could get one of the carpenters to make you a hook.
Ugh.
So what am I? That's what I am. That's what I am. I didn't learn from books. I learned from my mother. And as we all did, the mothers had the magic.
Are your powers innate or mostly schooled, or some combination of training?
I certainly had to learn how to use these things. But when one is brought up in a mage circle, who's to say? I never had children of my own, so I don't know.
You've never tried to teach anyone.
The Moonbrook elves are gone. Why would I teach another?
Well, it's interesting that you say that, and I hope this does not turn our conversation sour, but have you ever heard of a Syl Moonbrook?
The jumper?
Yes.
Yes. She's not a Moonbrook elf. Madamba and his rabble named her that to give her some kind of fearsome power. They want to be feared. They're misjudging. Humans don't have a very good memory. So using the name like Moonbrook in that way, it doesn't create fear in her enemies and their enemies.
I think humans have a very good memory. I'm starting to think maybe we've met before, in fact.
Yes, we have. We have. I've seen you fight.
Steel trap.
This is very sad. This is very sad.
So you say you said Syl is not a Moonbrook elf. Do you know what she is? What's wrong with her?
As far as I know, nothing is wrong with her. She's doing exactly as she is supposed to be doing.
But this power of hers is quite unique. Where does it come from?
When the mage circle used to maintain a small highway of teleportation circles, the ones who operated them sometimes would have these abilities. Years and years and years of proximity to teleportation magic can rub off on someone. I will grant you that it seems, at least from the stories of the minstrel, I won't sing you another song, but it seems as though she might be much more touched by this than others that I've seen.
I know we spoke little of Ehi before with these spectral towers.
Yes.
You said this happened many years ago, and that we had to, or that his children were returned to him to appease him. Does that seem like an accomplishment that can be handled by a small group of beings.
I'm feeling something coming from you, half-elf, and I'm assuming that you have handled charneled blade before.
I've not heard it called that, but I believe so.
I'm not sure you understand exactly how these things are made, but the Moonbrook elves were famous for their magic weapons. I'm not quite proud of this, but I participated in the creation of several of these weapons. They are soul eaters. We use the power of Ehi to trap souls in these charnel blades on the sacrificial tables that are littered across this valley. When a soul takes over one of these charnel blades, gains enough power, they can leave them. Powerful enough being can summon the underwater god Ihai, and I think that is what has happened here.
So one of the blades that you've created has in fact grown so powerful it has summoned Ihai Ohion.
This is what happened last time we saw these tentacles sprout up from the towers.
But to what end? If they can escape the blade when they grow powerful enough, why not just leave? Why beckon to Ihai?
They are children of Ehi now. That's the thing we didn't understand when we were making them. We thought we could control this power, but it turns out we were only collecting souls for a forgotten god.
So they are somehow bound to him, or it, and
She.
So they are bound to her, and they bring her back when they grow powerful enough. She requests they return to her. That's what happened before.
What happened before is the humans from Monterre came down from their mountain, released the souls on a charneled blade, and Ehi wiped out my people.
Is there an easier and perhaps safer way to release the souls to Ehi than to go through a ritual that nearly destroys us and, as far as we know, the very valley in which we live?
Oh, Ehi wouldn't destroy this valley.
Just the residents of it?
This is her place. This is where she wishes to reign high. You know that the Brine Valley was actually all underwater at one point.
All of it.
All of it. What we now call Robert's Gift was once the plateau of Moonbrook, and that was the only thing above water except the Red Cloud Mountains in this whole region. Dams were built, the water was siphoned, Ehi retreated, and now all that's left is this lake. My thinking is that Ehi wants to drown the valley and take her place once again.
Can you tell us what happened? You said last time Ehi came. What happened then? We have not been flooded.
No, the flood didn't happen. I blame Ehi. Last time, the humans and the dwarves and the halflings conspired against us. When the souls were released, every member of their army somehow held in their hands weapons of power and struck us down. And every time we used our charneled blades, took another soul, it was sent straight to Ehi, and another powerful weapon was created for our enemies.
May I ask, the souls that appeared, I don't know if you're aware, but the blade that was my patron was grasping for power, as it were, trying to escape, and in the process, the ritual that we cast, we created a tree in the space of a tower, which is now surrounded by spirits that were apparently within the blade, captured, as it were. How do we know if we need to fear this spirit from within the blade further?
So you're saying the blade freed itself?
Yes, there was a ritual performed on a sacrificial table. Some herbs were eaten, and a final soul was claimed that apparently went into battle. The soul that was within the blade, Perisseau Incompetent, was what it was called.
You see her suck in. She's.
I take the opportunity to steal some of her bacon.
Yeah.
It's really hot.
Success.
While she's distracted.
Who called him Perisseau Incompetent?
That is how he introduced himself to me.
She takes a second and reaches her hand into Abel's stew, and Abel's stew begins to boil uncontrollably, and she pulls.
Oh, we're gonna have a real will they won't they thing going, aren't we?
she pulls a piece of bacon out and looks him in the eye and bites down on it, and she says, "I executed a man, made him into a charneled blade, and added him to a charneled blade hundreds of years ago, and his crime was lazy incompetence.
Wait,
Apparently
wait,
he,
you can get executed for that?
The Moonbrook elves, the nobility, were, it doesn't matter what the stories say, we were not a kind and forgiving people.
If I got executed every time I was lazy or incompetent.
He was a financier of some local nobility. Some grain and gold went missing from the stores of the noble family. He claimed that they had never been there, and he wasn't tending the books as closely as he should have been, and was just, when a new financier came in and said, there's lots of things missing, he said, there's no crime in being lazy or incompetent. Take my job, but don't take my life. And instead, we took his life.
Did he speak with a strange accent that one might describe as cartoonish?
He did not, but I can tell you the channeling process can sometimes change a man's voice and his accent. He was a Gilbrain elf all the way.
Well, I think he learned his lesson, although it took hundreds of years, and he became less lazy and tried to free himself, and now I think he is in a battle with a paladin from the Adaran army for control of the blade, or perhaps something else is to be gained from that combat. But I was hoping you would be able to tell us if the battle might still be raging, or if everything has been decided, or if there is some outward way to tell.
Well, I suppose we could go see. It's a plane of existence after all. If we just know which plane of existence it is, we could go there. It's beyond my abilities, but you know someone who can do that. So Syl Moonbrook, if the stories are true, she is not bound to this plane.
Interesting.
The trick for a jumper, as far as I understand, is knowing what to name a plane, a place, and a time. That's the trick. It's much like summoning a demon. You know about that, wizard, don't you?
I've read some things.
The names
summoning...
of planes stay mainly in your brain.
Summoning a demon is tricky business unless you know its name. But here's the trick of demons, and here's the trick of planes. You aren't actually summoning the demon, and you aren't actually traveling to the plane in the way you might travel to Lakeshire or Monterre. You convince the world that the plane where you are is the plane where he is. You bend the universe, not yourself. Does that make sense?
No. But then what does these days?
In some strange way, I think I understand.
You must. If you've been connected to a charnel blade, you've been straddling two planes this whole time.
So it might explain how I was able to make weapons disappear and reappear. Connection with another plane where they go.
Maybe you could make your friend here a weapon and make him go.
I could make a weapon, and I do. And then I hand it to him, or offer it to him.
I sort of
Jonas.
I sort of poke at it with my nub.
Sorry, can't help you. Really could use that thumb.
Paired Hell, when you discover how to not just make inanimate objects go to the plane, maybe you will figure out how to go visit you said your patron. You said,
well, there was a pact of sorts, a bond, perhaps.
He must have become very powerful if he could make someone of your connection to the weave subservient to him.
Their relationship is complicated.
She flicks another piece of bacon into your stew, and it boils over again.
Truth be told, I'm not sure I knew of any connection to the weave before he appeared, so perhaps he brought it out of me. Perhaps there was some good come from him. After all the death and destruction he has wrought through mine own arms. I do not know. Perhaps you could look at this staff that came from the tree that came from that ritual, and it had a strange connection to the spirits there. I was able to absorb one and then speak to it and hear from its life prior to its death, but only for a short while. Is this from the same making, or is this something new? And I'll show her the quarterstaff.
Yeah, so she sort of flips it over in her hands and sort of says, nice balance. She touches the ground, and then she sort of waves it around in the air. This is very common. Certain
It is?
Well, certain magical items that are intended for one user will appear different for that user, for that holder, that owner. And so she steps back and let's all gather around in this area. Let me show you what I mean. Takes out of her bag a sort of red, it looks like almost like a piece of chalk, but she starts to draw on the stone ground of the windmill, and you can see that it sort of becomes blood as it goes on the ground. She draws a circle and she starts to draw elven symbols in the circle, and she says, I'm not used to making something this large. Here, everyone sit down here. You guys gonna sit down with her?
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably a little ways back from whichever's downhill. Maybe sit on the uphill side in case the blood runs.
Yeah. And she says, wait. Half elf, would you open your oven, please?
Okay, run over and open the oven. I'd love that the table, like in my head, I just think it'd be really funny if the table just like vanishes and then all the food just comes crashing to the floor.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. That is 100% what happens as soon as she begins concentrating on this other thing. And
just like scares the shit out of all of us. Like, what?
Go. Gods.
And she says a short incantation that none of you understand. It sounds it's anyone speak Sylvan just
No.
before I do it?
Nope.
Nope. So she's and she says, okay, whatever you see now can't hurt you. She looks at each of you and she points to you, Jonas. She says, what dead man would you like to speak with?
My father.
Okay, hold him in your mind. She forms a ball of fire in her right hand, and she says, half elf, be ready with the quarterstaff. And she shoves her flaming hand on Jonas's face. John, could you give me a dex save?
Crap, walked me into something else. Here we go. God.
And we're not done with this long rest yet either, right? So,
Right?
Not yet.
6.
Yeah. She touches his face. Filnyr, you see a dark-skinned man, fully formed, fully fleshed, standing on the outside of the circle that she's drawn on the ground.
okay.
And he says,
Jonas? Jonas, it's me.
no, you don't hear it, John.
Oh.
Jonas,
Ionis, do you not see your
why are
father?
you working with this witch?
Ionis, do you not see your father? He's standing right there.
I don't see anything.
Am I hurt? Is anything wrong with me?
Elspeth, what?
No, she still has the flaming hand on your face. It hurts.
Elspeth, can he see him? Can Ionis see his father?
I can't see him either. Perhaps try your staff.
Okay, so I'll take the staff and sort of tap him from the side. Not
Okay.
like in an aggressive swing, but just to touch him.
So you guys see Filnyr reach the staff outside of this circle, and both Abel and Jonas, you now see this tall, dark-skinned, gray-haired man standing where Filnyr had been. The mouth opens and says,
Oh, goodness gracious! That feels very strange. Jonas, my boy. Jonas. Ionis. Sorry. Ionis.
Right?
Ionis, my boy.
Father.
and so she takes her hand off of you. All of his facial hair, including his eyebrows, eyelashes, have burned off. So he's like completely like he's not his face doesn't look like it's burned. It's just that the hair has all been burned off.
Ionis, what on earth is going on here? Some kind of hedge witch? I told you not to get involved with this magic sort of thing.
Fool's errand.
That is besides the point. What has happened to you, father?
What has happened to me? What has happened to you? Where on earth are we?
You have died.
You have died. You have died. You died in my mind when you went to that wizard down south.
Father, you are always writing on me about this. I'm sick of it. Listen to me. I am my own man. I can make my own decisions. I decided that there was a better way in Monterre. You led an army to the Brine to take it over.
To once and for all kill the Faeruni humans.
As a warlord? This is not how we do things. What were you thinking?
This was our land, boy. This is what I was trying to save you from.
But you didn't save me.
Where's Erlington?
You didn't save me, did you? I am here. Erlington shoved me into some portal, and I lost 2 years, and I...
As ordered?
Well, I've resurfaced, and you're gone, and I had no answers, so I had to find them for myself.
Where's your mother?
I do not know.
That whore of an Adarin. Where is she?
Are you're speaking of my mother that way?
Do you know she lays with Erlington regularly, and sometimes for many minutes?
I was astonished to find out about Schnurbeck. Yes.
This is new information to me. Tell me more.
Every noble woman has the right to take a lover, but she has no right to wave it around in my face.
Wave what around in your face, specifically?
With my own manservant? Well, I decided years ago that bodily carnal pleasure was not for me. She was well within her rights.
Never mind. I take it back. Jonas doesn't need to hear this. I'm sorry. I got away from myself.
I'm just,
Back
just
to you.
frowning,
Back
and
to
I'm
you.
just shaking my head.
I just don't understand why she would be with a light-skinned human. Take a dwarf like all the other noble ladies of Monterre. I don't understand.
All right, can I counterspell this or something? Filnyr, please. This is...
It's your father, Jonas. You can ask him anything you want. You may never get this chance again.
Father.
Son.
What was your desire for Monterre? You wanted to take the Brine. You wanted to take back Adair. You wanted to take Hawk City.
Before my time, the only human power in this whole island was Monterre.
And what happened?
The elves brought in all the humans from Faerun, a bunch of misfit mercenaries who set up these imposter cities on the east and west of our island. And we've been forced to give them land, little by little, destroying our power. You and your offspring deserve better than that. Gilbrain is for the Monterrans.
Father, this is a beautiful valley. It should be shared.
Well, let's share it, but let's not share it with the mercenary humans. Let's kick them off of our island.
So you meant to live and coexist with the elves and the halflings and the dwarves?
Yes.
Even though you say the elves turned against you and brought the humans in?
300 years ago. Elves have long memories. They will remember that we routed them. They'll be in hand.
How's that working out for you?
And Filnyr, you hear all of this, but it's like you're floating over top of this scene. Like you see it and you're in it, but you're not in it. And you're looking down and you see that your two compatriots are speaking to you, your body. You see your body.
Okay.
And they're speaking to you, but your mouth is moving and it's not your voice that is coming out.
Right. Okay.
Father, I have always held you in high regard.
As you should.
I do not...
You are my son? You're the Prince of Monterre?
I do not like the things that I've learned of late. But for our family, I will do everything in my power to bring Monterre back to its former glory. Can you please tell me who killed you?
I can. He was in my own army. A rapscallion, your mother's cousin, Gustav Demerode.
Cousin Gustav killed... Why?
I have no idea. I'm beginning to think no one dreams of Monterran glory anymore. It's nice to hear that you will follow your father's mission.
I am going to cleanse the thought of Monterre. I'm going to recreate us. We were going down a terrible path. I could see that even before all of this happened. That's why I went to study the arcane. That's why I went and left the mountain city in order to see the world, see what else we might be able to offer our people. Our name is tainted, Father. I'm going to cleanse it.
Take out the taint.
Dispel it, Filnyr. Dispel it. Dispel magic. Counter spell.
I think you should be looking at Hellsmith because, as far as you know, I'm not there
Help
anymore,
me.
right?
I am finished talking to this man.
And Hellsmith says, Filnyr, if you're there, you pull your staff away from the ghost.
All right, and I will try to do that as best I can.
All right, give me a straight charisma check.
All right.
DC 13 on this one.
7.
Okay, so your father is like blinking in and out, and he just keeps saying,
Pull out the taint. Pull out the taint. Pull
Taint,
out the
taint,
taint.
taint,
The taint, 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 taint. The taint.
Again,
The
again,
taint. It's the
Filnyr.
taint.
Again,
It's the
Filnyr.
taint. It's the taint.
Try it again, please.
Taint.
Can I try it again?
Taint.
try it again.
Taint.
20.
Taint.
And it's back to Filnyr, and Filnyr.
Taint. Taint.
Thank
Taint.
you.
So what?
You for the next day. Anytime you roll a 7 on a D20 for anything, you have to use the word taint.
He turns back
Jonas-
on Filnyr. I'm like,
Oh, Tom's teeth. That was horrible. Thank you.
Jonas, you think that was really your father? As I think it taint.
I leave.
Yeah. So you're gonna leave the magic circle?
I come back. I'm not gonna leave. the magic circle.
Don't leave.
I'm not gonna
don't
leave the magic
it.
circle.
Don't leave it. She looks around and says, "So it is a very powerful item, Filnyr, but you ought to be very careful."
Does it require a magic circle?
I wasn't sure whether or not we'd be protected from the ghosts.
So the magic circle was for protection,
For protection of all of us.
and the rest of it was just the staff and me.
Yes.
So
I believe this gives you the ability to speak to the dead. And I believe sorry. go ahead.
to allow others to speak to the dead.
Well, it allows you to become the dead. It allows others to speak to the dead through you.
I see. This may be very useful. This may be quite terrifying.
I can guarantee it will be both. One thing I can tell you is you should not take a life with this quarterstaff.
I had not planned to, but
And she looks over at you, Abel, and says, "And you do not kill with that shield. And you, wizard."
Yeah, waved around. Yeah, but this is fine. Yes.
She you pull out the wand. You show her the wand.
Yeah, I show her the wand.
May I?
Show her your wand, Jonas.
I hand it to her reluctantly.
So she takes it in her hand. She like sort of smells it, and then she breaks it in half.
Ah, damn it!
She puts it on the ground, and she says, "With your fire, not mine. With your fire, not mine. Burn the stick. With your fire, not mine.
Burn. But why?
I will show you why."
All right. I mean, it's already destroyed, so I just firebolt it, or I guess prestidigitation. It just catches fire.
It's not going to work.
Okay.
Firebolt.
Okay.
Firebolt. You don't need to roll. When it hits, the two pieces sort of melt a little bit at the ends, and she says, "With your hands, push them back together."
Okay. I push them back together.
It is perfect again, and she says, "I can do one of two things with this. First, you should not kill with this either. I can also make this into something of a ward.
A ward.
I can bind you to another,
I back away slowly.
Yeah. I can make it so that, and she looks over at Abel and she says, I can make it so that you bind yourself to this warrior and you can share in his pain and you can share in his grief, but you can offer your blood to protect his blood.
So if he happens to be hurt, I give of my life to heal him.
That sounds very metaphorical. How does it work, say, mathematically?
Perhaps he takes a hit and you feel the blow.
Yes, it's like the half-elf say.
So we become Corsican twins.
It's more like becoming Detroit twins. Detroited twins.
Suppose that's better than the Minnesota Twins.
Perhaps. It will offer him some level of protection against all damage, but you will share in the damage.
Does it work two ways?
It does not.
So he's resistant, but I am not.
Sounds like a great deal for you, Jonas. I don't know why you wouldn't jump on this while you have the chance.
Can I just have that back? Can I just have that back?
And I just kind of grab for it and take it back.
Take your wand.
I
Sure.
take it back,
Yeah.
I take it back.
Yeah. She's no matter what, do not kill with these weapons.
Well, why would they appear to us as weapons if we weren't meant to kill with them?
175,000 Moonbrook elves dead at the hands of such weapons that they themselves were wielding.
That's a very good argument.
So you're saying if we take a life with these weapons, they will take our lives?
I'm saying it will grow the army even larger of whatever it is that we are about to face in this valley.
So these are soul eaters as well.
I believe they are.
We were right not to have Hank take the leaf.
Yes, we were. Should we?
Quick, we've got to kill Hank so he doesn't come back for the leaf.
Should we hide these? Would it be better if we stored these somewhere out of sight?
Well, I've offered to make you something better by allowing a bit of your soul to occupy this, but otherwise I would not strike one with these. Defensively, maybe quite powerful.
I have two very important questions. How do we keep Ehi from flooding this valley again?
And what's your other question?
I don't really need the finger. Can I just get a thumb?
The fighting must cease. In this valley, the fighting must cease. I fear that the Underdark creatures are laying waste to Lakeshire, even as we speak. Perhaps they should be defeated, but I would try to form accords with Adair and Hark and Monterre, at least until Ehi goes back into the deep.
So we must join their forces and somehow convince them not to battle each other to end the Gith.
The Gith are dirty animals.
Well, guys, that sounds easy enough. We could certainly knock that out in a few days.
Certainly appreciate your wit, Abel. I have two questions.
Okay.
The Gith, you say they come from the Underdark?
Not just the Underdark, the Waterdavian Underdark.
If we are taking the fight to them, we have to march on Waterdeep?
I would not do that.
How do we find them?
I would destroy every single teleportation circle on this island. That is how they are arriving.
All right.
Cut off the source.
Okay. We may be able to do that. Do you know of Bezlith Luatal?
I do.
If you say you are Bezlith Luatal, I'm going to lose my shit.
I am not Bezlith Luatal. She was my greatest student.
Oh, man.
Your student?
Why can't we ever fight poor students?
She was not my daughter, but she was the daughter of one of the Mage Circle elves. And she decided to seek out forever life. Elves already live a very long time, as I'm sure you were aware, and she thought that she could conquer it. She's a vampire now.
All right, because I heard that she was not a vampire.
Last time I saw her, 135 years ago, she was a vampire. And I will tell you, she aims to take back all of Gilbrain for the elves.
Is she a drow?
She is a drow, but she is not like the other drow. She was not born in the Underdark. She was born in Moonbrook.
So she's half drow.
She's converted somehow.
She is a follower of Ehi.
Would you consider her a friend or a foe at this point in our quest to calm Ehi?
She will help calm Ehi by laying waste to the Gith threat.
Well, that would serve our purposes for now.
And then she will likely flood the valley.
Why would she build a giant well into the Underdark?
Why would you call it a well? Is she building something?
Well, it's a big hole in the ground lined with stones.
She might be trying to take over the Underdark.
Well, how would that help? Especially if it's going to be underwater. Wait a second, maybe I answered my own question.
My guess is she believes that when Ehi has what she wants, that she will elevate Bezlith to Queen of Gilbrain.
Oh, man. Oh, if only gods were so transactional.
I'm with you. I'm not even sure what a god is, much less what they would trade if they could trade.
But you would consider Ehi to be a god, not an imposter.
Ehi is the god of this island, like it or not.
I don't. I'm decided. I've given it a lot of thought. I've weighed the pros and cons. I've decided I don't like it.
Well, my circle's about to break, and so is my attention. Gentlemen, half-elf, this was a delicious dinner. I will be in the tavern. I will be staying here for 4 more days, and then I am going to Adair City.
What are you going to do there?
I am going to look for one of my relatives. If I were you, I would begin figuring out who has the power to cease fire.
Very well. Is there anything you can do to help Abel with his hand in that time?
I would like to help Abel by keeping him alive. And this wizard here, has it within his power to help him.
With the guilt, just do it.
And hand her the wand back.
Wait a second now. I don't want to be responsible for getting the King of Monterre killed.
Then don't get me killed.
Okay. So you're going to do this?
John is shaking his head for everybody listening.
He's not liking this. Nobody seems to be liking this. I think it's a great deal. You've never even been hit before in this whole damn game.
That's not true. The gift took half my hit points last episode. Jesus. Shiminy crickets.
That's true. And wasn't the last roll not a good one for HP? So
Yeah, terrible
It's
roll.
true. It's true.
he's the fragile one.
Yep.
I'm sticky.
Get on
even
the
if
hood,
I-
blood bag.
This is usually the deal that goes the other way, right? Like the
Yeah,
paladin gets
even
the,
if I'm like out of the fight, I'm in the fight.
Okay. Yeah, it's true.
yeah, that's like, is there a distance thing that they have to be close enough, or is
Come
it
on,
like
man. Don't you
on
want
the
to feel
same
my
plane?
blows?
It's crazy.
Nobody gets blows like me. If there's one thing I'm good at, it's receiving blows.
And how does it work if Abel dies of old age? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's old.
He's old, man.
God.
And even, oh God, Jesus.
Christ.
And
Help me.
even if I polymorph him, I'm still getting hit.
I don't know.
I can't.
You
do
won't
it. I
have
can't do it.
concentration checks for taking this damage.
Hey, what does this have to do with my hand?
Absolutely nothing.
I-
You'll need to find someone who can cast a regeneration spell on you.
Am I talking to someone like that right now?
Maybe when I get back from Adair.
I have a question. I have one other very important question before you leave.
Okay.
What would you see done? And should we see you again, will we find ourselves at cross purposes?
I have never liked the humans of Monterre.
You and me both, lady.
No offense, Silhavind.
Mm.
I think that they are a plague to this soil. I think that they ignore the needs of the people until they need something, and then they demand things from the people. But maybe they're desperate now, and maybe they're willing to change. The humans in Hark and Adair aim to root out all of the original inhabitants of this island. They may not even know that that's what they're doing, but that's their goals. As an elf whose people have already been killed off, and I don't believe Bezlith can bring us back to any kind of glory of any sort, as an elf, I hope the Monterrans win. I hope the Monterrans can kick the humans out. I hope they can save us from the Gith. As a person, I don't really care. I'm old.
Boy, that's the first thing you've said tonight that I felt I could really relate to.
Despite,
Would you like a blood bond or not? I'm tired.
I am going to think about it. You go ahead and get some sleep.
Okay. All right. So she takes the blood and she waves her hand over the circle and it sets on fire and the blood all burns off. She leaves your windmill and she leaves you all thinking about what you've just seen, what you just heard, and thus ends episode 29 of Every War Must End, the Dungeon Dads podcast.
Lots to mull over.
Ooh, lots.
We're gonna have a
That's
lot to talk
crazy.
about on that bonus episode, aren't we?
And we still
Yeah.
haven't finished a long rest. I guess we
Oh, you
finish
guys
it.
get it.
I
You
guess
guys,
we
I'm
finish
assuming
it
you
now.
get, yeah, you finish it now.
So we all
Yeah,
go to
you
bed.
finish it now.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. All right, everybody. Listen, we're about to head over to the bonus episode, which will be coming out in a week on Patreon. Come on back.
Toodaloo.
5 subscribes, everybody.
5 subscribes.
5 subscribes.
Chubba